Hey everyone, it's Karen. So I have been doing these videos where I walk you through my nonfiction collection since it's Nonfiction November. It's almost the end, so I thought I would wrap this up and just show you some of the books that are in my signed or I've met the author read collection. So I have other signed books or other books I've met the author that are nonfiction that I have not gotten to yet. Those will not be included. These are only books I've read. And the first one is MWF Seeking BFF by Rachel Birchie. This is an experience that it was so true to me. But basically Rachel writes about this experience where you've left college, all your friends at college have kind of gone in different directions, and now you are a young adult with a real job and you're just trying to figure out like, who do you want to be friends with? So many of your friends have moved. There's a lot of mobility when you're in your 20s. And yeah, so this is about her search for a friend. She is living in Chicago at the time. I think she still lives there. I was living in Chicago at the time. I was her author escort at LitFest. And so there's a lot of fun activities to meet friends when you're in Chicago versus like where I live now, although there's still a lot of fun things where I live now to do to make friends, and this is just her journey through all of them. I really enjoyed this book just because it was fun nonfiction, which I really like, but it also, because I was in Chicago at the time, it encouraged me to try new things to make friends too. And one of the things that I tried were these mac and cheese minglers. So basically there's this woman, I think her name is Sonia. I forgot her name. Anyway, she's amazing. And she's a little bit older than me. I think she was in her early 30s when I went to her mac and cheese mingler, and I was in my mid 20s. But anyway, basically she lost her job and she just made a list of all the things that she wishes that she could get paid to do. And so they were just ridiculous things, right? Like hanging out with friends, wearing flip-flops, eating food, you know, whatever. And so one of the first parts that she added to her business were these mac and cheese minglers. So basically you would sign up online and you had to pay a very small fee. I can't remember if it was like 10 or 20. I mean, it was very small. And you would be able to get invited to her home for these minglers. And what she would do is she kept this elaborate spreadsheet. So she would make sure that you did not know anybody else that was there. So you'd go by yourself, which is kind of like, you know, kind of a risky sort of thing, and you wouldn't know a single other person there. And yeah, so it was just a really fun time to meet new friends. It was not like a blind date thing at all, although connections I suppose could happen. But it was really fun. You brought an appetizer and you arrived at a stranger's house to hang out with random people. I loved it, and I'm an introvert and I still loved it. This next book is Barking to the Choir, The Power of Radical Kingship by Gregory Boyle. It's been a while since I read this, but basically Gregory Boyle is a priest, and he serves a population of people that is just like forgotten and looked down upon and all that stuff. And if I remember correctly, I think they were former gang members, but they could have been like yeah, they were gang members, I'm pretty sure. And so basically it's Homeboy Industries that he founded, and he takes care of these people who were in gangs. And it's just like absolutely amazing to see faith lived out in a really real way that is not fake and is genuine and is touching people's lives who are often ignored. I really enjoyed this. Then I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness by Austin Channing Brown. I actually was at a bookstore, and she happened to be at the bookstore too. So I was not there for an event. She was not the event. We were just both in the bookstore. She had her husband and son with her. But anyway, this book is really good on racism and just like the more subtle things that I didn't realize. Back in the day, I feel like I have learned a lot since then. But just the very microaggression sort of things and kind of the more caste sort of things. She doesn't mention that word, but just seeing racism at a deeper level and in real life was a good part of this book. And then Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. I actually met him like on a Tuesday. And on Friday, we found out that school was shut down for COVID. So it was very fun meeting him. I just remember going, and there was no book signing because, like, of COVID. Like, he didn't want to encounter that many people. And I kind of went there thinking there would not be a book signing. But when he stood up, he was talking about his kid's school being closed in New York City where he lives. He was talking about his university being closed. And it was Tuesday, and it was just shocking to me. Like, I knew COVID was spreading in the US. I knew it was bad. I did not know that it was that bad. And to, like, be so shocked by what he shared, and then on Friday of our school shut down, is just a crazy memory. But anyway, it's been a really, really long time since I've read this, so I can't really say too much about it, but I think it is about his experience becoming a vegetarian. And then this is the book that I went to the author event for. Again, it's not signed because I actually already owned a copy when I went there, so I didn't want to buy another one that was pre-signed. But this is about the big impacts that you can make on the environment, and those include following a vegan lifestyle, not traveling as much, and having no kids or fewer kids than you would already. And basically he says, like, most of the population is not actively considering if they're going to have kids or not. Like, there's a small portion of your life where you're in that decision-making process. And so that's not something that can impact most people. And then as far as flying, like, again, that is not going to impact a huge number of people. There's a lot of people that have to travel for work and things like that. And so that's also a little bit more difficult to kind of manage. But he said everyone eats every day, and you can make decisions by what you choose to eat. And the thing I really liked about his talk, in addition to him being so hilarious, was that, okay, sorry. I just had memories in my head of him and his talk. Is that people eat every day, and I liked that he was not judgmental. Like, if you are a meat eater or you eat dairy, like, he was not judgmental about you doing those things. He just wanted you to take one tiny baby step into having less meat and dairy. And yeah, for some people that means completely being vegan. For some people that means being vegan before noon. And for others, you know, maybe that just means putting less cheese on their pizza. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, it was funny because COVID was such a big part of his author event. And so he told us to, like, yell at him every time he, like, would touch his face, because people are so used to touching their face. Like, it's just like a self-soothing thing that people do without even thinking about it. And so there was this one point that he was making that was, like, a really, really good point. And all of a sudden everyone started yelling at him. And for a second he was like, what did I do? And he's like, oh my gosh, I touched my face. It was so funny. Okay, then Hunger by Roxane Gay. Again, I'm sorry, this has been so long since I've read it, but they are just essays, feminist essays, and yeah, Roxane Gay is always lovely, but I don't have specific memories from this book to share. Then, oh my gosh, you guys, I've assigned Jane Goodall. This is Seeds of Hope, and it is just nature writing, and it's Jane Goodall, and it is amazing. Then I have assigned, oh, this is heavy. I have a signed copy of The Bully Pulpit, which this is the first book that I ever got from Parnassus's first edition book club. And I think I have been a member for 6 years now, which that bookshelf is messy because I have stacks of the books that I'm going to talk about next. But basically that entire bookshelf is mostly books from Parnassus. So there's that. And then, calling essays on teaching in the mother tongue. Again, it's been a while since I've read this, but Gail Griffin is a professor in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I just remember really enjoying these essays and really enjoying anything that she's written. She has a new memoir out that I really, really want to read on grief and on her first marriage. I believe she lost her husband after like a month of marriage or like something like really short, and I really want to read it, but I can't buy books. So we'll just see what happens. And then finally, Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver. This one is not signed, but I did meet her and adore her. And this one I would recommend as an audiobook. It's her journey on moving, I think, from Arizona to rural Virginia, and on her family's decision to try and eat locally for an entire year. And they each had like one food that they could splurge on. So like I think for one of them it was coffee, and one of them it might have been hot chocolate. I can't remember, but they each had like one not local food that they were allowed to have as much of throughout the year as they wanted. It starts in the spring and it just goes on over the course of a year. There's a very interesting portion about turkeys in here, so be forewarned. Yeah, and it's really cool because my mom's cousin Molly has 3 kids, and I'm pretty close to Carrie, who is her youngest daughter. Well, she only has one daughter, but it's her youngest kid. She's a daughter, and she loves reading, so Carrie and I are pretty close. But I guess anyway, she was off visiting one of her brothers who lives in rural Virginia and lives really close to Barbara Kingsolver. So they were just driving around and Barbara was like working in her yard. How cool is that? So those are the first 10 books that I want to show you from my signed, read, and or met the author collection. I have 2 more videos to make from this bookshelf. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed these, and I will talk to you later. Bye.